Amidst World War II, the Nazi concentration camps became chambers of unimaginable pain, where millions of innocent lives suffered. While much focus has been on male guards causing these horrors, we've missed a significant part: the female guards. Assigned to enforce strict rules, these women did more. They participated in torturing, violating, and even killing prisoners. Among the most infamous of these camps was Bergen Belsen. Upon the arrival of British liberators, a scene of sheer horror greeted them. Thousands of dying inmates lay in agony amidst unburied corpses, an eerie testament to the camp's nightmarish reality. Disease and starvation ran rampant, and Bergen Belsen claimed over 70,000 lives. But what led these women down this dark path? How were they convinced to commit such acts? And when justice came, how were they held accountable? Join us as we uncover these mysteries, which not only sheds light on their actions, but raises haunting questions about the human capacity for cruelty and compliance. Of the 50,000 guards who served in the Nazi concentration camps, approximately 5,000 were women. The year 1942 bore witness to a chilling development, as the first female guards were dispatched from Ravensbrück to Auschwitz and Majdanek, ushering in a new chapter of horror. Things changed because there weren't enough male guards for the Nazi camps, so they started getting women to do this job. These women were called Aufseherin in German, which means overseer or attendant. But their role was much scarier than just watching over things. They became a part of the terrible things happening in the camps. These women came from different backgrounds, mostly from the middle and lower classes. They had all sorts of jobs before this, like teachers, hairdressers, or even singers. But how did they end up doing such terrible things? That's a big question. The Bergen Belsen concentration camp was established in 1940 to hold prisoners of war from various Allied countries. The camp's purpose evolved under the control of the SS, or Schutzstaffel, turning into a place of torment for Jews, political dissidents, gypsies, and other groups considered enemies by the Nazis. Life within the camp's confines was characterized by unimaginable suffering. Prisoners were subjected to forced labor, including tasks like dismantling old shoes in a leather recycling factory. The inmates received meager rations, and the harsh conditions paved the way for the rapid spread of deadly diseases such as dysentery, typhus, and tuberculosis. The overcrowding worsened the situation, leading to an alarming death toll from starvation, malnutrition, and illness. In April of 1945, as Nazi Germany faced its inevitable defeat, British troops arrived at the Bergen Belsen camp. The sight that greeted them was beyond horrifying. Thousands of corpses lay unburied, and around 60,000 prisoners were on the brink of death due to the horrendous conditions. This harrowing discovery was conveyed to the world through a chilling report on the BBC. The broadcaster's quavering voice described the grim scene of living prisoners resting their heads on the dead, creating an image of nightmarish despair. The individuals responsible for running the camp were eventually captured and brought to trial several months later. The trials aimed to bring justice to the victims and hold those who had committed heinous acts accountable for their actions. It was during these trials that a disturbing truth emerged. A significant number of the atrocities committed at Bergen Belsen were carried out by young women affiliated with the Nazi regime. Among the women implicated in these terrible acts, a few names stand out. One of the most haunting figures in the Nazi concentration camps was Irmgard Ilsa Ida Gresa. She was a guard at the Nazi concentration camps of Ravensbrück, Auschwitz, and later she became the warden of the women's section at Bergen Belsen. Shockingly, she volunteered to join the SS. In her teenage years, Gresa aspired to join the League of German Girls, the Hitler Youth Branch for girls, but her father forbade it. By the time she was 17, she found herself at the SS Female Helpers training base near Ravensbrück, an all-female concentration camp. In 1940, Gresa started her dark journey as an Aufseherin, or overseer, at the Ravensbrück. Her path then led her to Auschwitz-Birkenau in 1943. However, her choice to join the SS severed her ties with her father, who was vehemently against her involvement. Gresa wasn't a mere observer. She actively participated in selecting prisoners for the gas chambers at Auschwitz. In early 1945, she was part of a prisoner evacuation from Auschwitz to Ravensbrück, and from there she moved to Bergen Belsen with many other prisoners. The tide turned against her when the British Army captured her on April 17, 1945. This marked the beginning of her reckoning. Gresa faced trial as one of the 45 accused war criminals at the Belsen trial in Lüneburg, Lower Saxony. During the trial, she gained a chilling moniker from the press: the Beautiful Beast. She was one of the individuals labeled alongside Joseph Kramer, the infamous Beast of Belsen. After a 9-week trial, Gresa was sentenced to capital punishment by hanging. Gresa's case was distinct. While many female warders faced serious charges, she was one of 3 sentenced to death. Alongside 2 other female guards and 8 men, she was convicted for her involvement in crimes at Auschwitz and Belsen. On December 13, 1945, in Amlon prison, Gresa faced the gallows with a sense of defiance. She was executed through long drop hanging along with her fellow convicts, adding yet another chilling chapter to her dark story. Another notorious female figure in the annals of history is Ilse Koch, infamously known as the Witch of Buchenwald. Born in Dresden, Germany in 1906, her journey took a dark and twisted path, forever intertwining her name with heinous acts during the Nazi regime. Her life took a fateful turn when she married Karl Koch, who would go on to become the commandant of the Buchenwald concentration camp. As the wife of a high-ranking SS officer, Ilse Koch wielded a considerable amount of power within the grim confines of the camp. However, it wasn't just power that defined Ilse Koch's role. It was the sadistic and malevolent treatment she inflicted upon the prisoners that would make her a lasting symbol of cruelty. Her actions transcended the bounds of comprehension and plunged into the depths of depravity. Koch developed a morbid fascination with human skin, transforming it into macabre objects like lampshades and book covers. This gruesome practice was not just an expression of her sadistic tendencies, it represented a complete dehumanization of the prisoners, turning their suffering into grotesque trophies. Even more disturbingly, she ordered prisoners' skin to be tattooed, adding yet another layer to her inhumane behavior. Her actions went beyond merely overseeing the camp. She actively participated in the torture and murder of prisoners, including children. Such was the extent of her cruelty that even fellow SS officers, themselves part of a regime steeped in violence, found her actions repulsive and questioned her sanity. As the tides of war turned and the atrocities of the Nazi regime were laid bare, Ilse Koch was arrested by American authorities. Her trial for war crimes was a pivotal moment, as it sought to hold her accountable for the horrors she had unleashed. However, the case was fraught with challenges due to the lack of concrete evidence linking her to specific crimes. Yet, there were whispers and rumors that Koch's protection came from higher-ranking SS officers who feared the revelation she might make about their own culpability. This, in itself, underscores the deeply disturbing culture within the Nazi regime, where a hierarchy of cruelty existed, with some perpetrators being shielded at the expense of justice. Ilse Koch's personal life, too, was marred by tragedy. She had a son and 2 daughters with Karl Koch. Heartbreakingly, her son took his own life after the war, unable to bear the weight of his parents' unspeakable crimes. Another son, born in prison, learned of his parentage and began to visit his mother regularly. Koch's life ended in a dark and haunting manner. In 1967, at the age of 60, she hanged herself in Eichach Women's Prison. Her mind had succumbed to delusions, with a haunting belief that concentration camp survivors would exact vengeance upon her within her cell. Moving on to another ominous figure of the Nazi regime, Maria Mandl, an Austrian SS Helferin whose role in the Holocaust casts a dark cloud over humanity's conscience. Born on January 10, 1912, Mandel's name is etched into the annals of infamy for her nightmarish tenure as a top-ranking official at the Auschwitz-Birkenau extermination camp. Her chilling distinction? Being suspected of complicity in the deaths of over 500,000 prisoners, a monstrous tally that would eventually seal her fate. Those unfortunate enough to meet her gaze were singled out, an ominous prelude to their tragic fate. These so-called chosen ones disappeared into the abyss, their voices silenced forever. Mandel's reign of terror earned her the ominous moniker, the Beast, a chilling epithet that encapsulates the horrors she orchestrated. For 2 harrowing years, she wielded her power in selections for death, a macabre process where she decided who would live and who would be condemned. The atmosphere of dread she cultivated was further documented in heart-wrenching accounts, like the one from Jewish prisoner Salah Feder. Feder's testimony provides a visceral glimpse into Mandel's cruelty, beating women, men, and children with a whip, mercilessly tearing infants from their mother's arms, and perpetrating unspeakable violence. As we confront Mandel's malevolence, we encounter another sinister figure, Herta Botha, a German concentration camp guard during World War II whose towering height of 6'3" was matched only by her callousness. Amidst the post-war chaos, Botha was tasked with a gruesome duty, placing the bodies of deceased prisoners into mass graves. This grim chore was a harrowing testament to the horrors that had unfolded. In her testimony, Botha recounted the haunting details, the nauseating stench of decay, the sickening sensation of rotting flesh giving way, and the physical toll it took on her. Moving on is the story of Jenna Vanda Barkman, who earned an unsettling moniker, Beautiful Spectre. Barkman was an overseer in Nazi concentration camps during World War II. The juxtaposition of her elegance and her brutality makes her all the more haunting. As the Soviet Red Army drew near, Barkman's guilt-laden footsteps attempted to escape justice. However, her capture and subsequent trial unveiled a chilling indifference. Throughout the proceedings, she giggled and toyed with her appearance, an unsettling reminder of the distorted lens through which she viewed her actions. Another female guard at the Nazi camp was Hildegard Lekept, whose journey into infamy earned her the chilling epithet Bloody Brigitte. Her reign of terror unfolded through selections for the gas chamber and other forms of unspeakable abuse. Her legacy endures in the horrifying details of her crimes, further sealing her fate with a 12-year prison sentence. Soon after the liberation of the Bergen Belsen concentration camp, the British military took swift action to address the crimes committed within its walls. Between September 17th and November 17th, 1945, a total of 44 individuals were brought to trial by a British military tribunal in Lüneburg, Germany. The accused included a mix of individuals: former camp commandant Joseph Kramer, 16 male SS members, 16 female SS guards, and 11 former prisoners who held roles within the camp. These individuals were charged exclusively with war crimes under British military law. In contrast, the major war criminals tried by the International Military Tribunal in Nuremberg the following year faced broader charges, including crimes against humanity and peace. The trials garnered significant attention from both domestic and international journalists, with over 100 reporters covering the proceedings in Lüneburg. Their coverage not only highlighted the widespread deaths in Bergen Belsen, but also brought to light the atrocities of the gas chambers in Auschwitz-Birkenau. After an extensive period of witness interrogations lasting 2 months, the tribunal handed down sentences. Among them, 11 defendants, including Joseph Kramer, head female guard Elizabeth Volkenrath, and camp doctor Fritz Klein, were sentenced to death. Their executions took place on December 13, 1945 at the Emlon prison. Out of the accused, 14 were acquitted by the tribunal, while others received prison sentences ranging from 1 to 15 years. However, many of these sentences were subsequently reduced due to appeals or pleas for leniency. The pursuit of justice did not end there. as 9 additional members of the Bergen Belsen camp personnel faced trials before other military tribunals in 1946 and 1948. This comprehensive effort aimed to bring those responsible for the horrors to account for their actions and stand as a testament to the importance of seeking justice for the victims. Now, we would like to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the trials that brought the perpetrators of Bergen Belsen's atrocities to justice? Do you believe the sentences were fitting for the crimes committed, or do you think they should have been more severe? Share your perspective in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and make sure to subscribe to our channel so you can stay updated on more compelling episodes of military history. Together, let's continue to learn.